Hello to all of you from around the world. I want to welcome you back to another fantastic edition of Soulivity Today. We are broadcasting live from our studio right here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Brian Westley Johnson, and whether you're at home or driving or at work, or whether you're out shopping for the holidays, we're always glad you're here with us. We have another amazing show for you today, and I'm joined today by senior Soulivity contributor, Dr. Chanel DeGuzman. Hello, Dr. Chanel.
Good morning.
And Sheila Applegate, who is the host of Consciously Awesome Living, which broadcasts each Wednesday at 12 noon right here on Soulivity TV. Hey, Sheila, how are you?
Hi, Brian and Chanel. It's good to be here.
I'm so glad you both are here. We've got a great topic we're going to be talking about. But before we get to that, I got to do a little dishing with you guys. So what's been going on? How have you been, Dr. Chanel? We haven't talked to you in a week.
I know, a whole week. Hey, first, I just got to let the audience know about that really hot purple jacket that you have on. Oh my God, Brian, you look awesome. In addition to Brian's purple jacket, yeah, just a really great week. Nothing major going on. Just kind of easing into the weekend.
Yeah.
I have a RFP, which just means a request for proposal for a major contract that was released, and personally, I was invited personally to participate. So that was like a big feather in my cap. So now I have
Okay.
to do work and put it all together and get it accepted. But yeah, everything is going well. I'm just grateful to be here with you all today.
Wow, fantastic. Well, wishing you luck on that RFP. I know you're gonna knock it out, knock it out of the park.
Thank you.
And Sheila, you and I were just talking about the sounds of birds and things, and you've got a blue jay that's kind of peeking in and checking out our show today.
Yeah.
I love
I've
it.
learned, it's interesting when the birds migrate, it's easier to identify the ones that stay year round by their sound, because you're not,
Right.
and in the spring I can identify them, and then it gets so loud that it's hard. So yeah, you mentioned you heard a bird, and I said, oh yeah, that's a blue jay out there. I left some peanuts.
Oh man,
Well,
I love it. I
so
love it. I
special.
love it. And it, do cardinals stay year round too, right?
They do. So many more birds than you imagine, and I'm sure even more for you, because we're already in
Right.
snow.
Right.
Some of my birds
Right.
might be in your backyard now.
Yeah, I
Um,
know Blue Jays and Cardinals, we'll see them more often than not during this time of year. I think it's like
yeah,
an old uncle or grandpa or something kind of checking in. Hey, what's happening? That kind of deal. You're
yeah.
like,
And the woodpeckers are here still. Yeah, there's a
oh
lot of
man,
birds
yeah,
that stay.
yeah, yeah. So those are our gifts to ourselves, right? Those things,
Right.
putting out bird feeders and stuff. Wow. Listen, let's get to today's topic. Today we're going to be talking about money and the holidays, and how to deal with the potential stress of the financial burden of the holidays can bring. You know, Ladies, I'm glad we're talking about this. Again, it's something that I think intuitively all of us kind of think about sometimes. Um, but because of everything that happens, especially now that like holiday spending has started earlier and earlier and earlier and earlier every year now. I mean, we're talking October now. Like I'm seeing like holiday stuff. I'm sure the same is true for you guys, right?
Absolutely. I was amazed, and I don't know if I shared this on the show, but before Halloween, people in my
Mhm.
area, in my township, had their Christmas lights up and their decorations out. And I mean, Brian, well, the Bloomfield Hills and West Bloomfield. I mean, elaborate. And
Oh
that's
yeah.
great.
Oh
That's
yeah.
so super. But like, wow, can we just get through Halloween or even to Thanksgiving? I know people traditionally do that after Thanksgiving, but yeah, now it's even before Halloween.
Well, listen, again, I'm glad we're talking about this because this is an important topic for everyone where you might have some feelings about your money, your budget, and that kind of thing, and maybe feeling uneasy about how much you may be spending during this time of year. So again, we're talking about money and the holidays. Ladies, I want to begin with this passage from this fantastic article that I found called "The Psychology of Holiday Spending and Tips for Budgeting." It's an article from the Foundations Counseling online. We put the link in our chat so that everybody can go out and kind of read the full article later. But this first passage says, during this season of giving, materialism can often come shrouded in generosity. Spending more than you have on gifts and rationalizing overindulgent purchases with promises of New Year's frugally are what plague many consumers with overwhelming amounts of holiday credit card debt or land them in debt consolidation programs. Unfortunately for us, most creditors don't have much Christmas spirit come January. Ooh, that's so true, right? Dr. Chanel, when we talk about money and the holidays, it seems that right, this is our genuine desire to give to others is at the heart of it all. First, is it true for you? And then second, when did that desire begin for you?
Mhm. I think it's a genuine, heartfelt desire to share and give and to bring joy perhaps to others. I
Mhm.
I don't know when my joy of giving started. I can't necessarily pinpoint it. But what I can say is that I will tell you both, I am, and my the audience, I am definitely guilty. I just had a Christmas luncheon. I'm a part of an organization, Brian, you know the links. So we had a
Yeah.
Christmas luncheon last Saturday. So I have to buy a table full of tickets to invite folks. And the benefit is to benefit kids in Pontiac.
Right.
And then you buy little gifts for your guest. Parting gifts at the table. And then I don't drink, but I did provide wine. All of that was honestly not necessarily in my budget. However, one, you have to quote unquote represent. But I did want to honestly make sure that my ladies at the table had a wonderful experience. So it's just not only like
Oh,
gift, but I wanted them to have a full, loving, warm experience where the table was inviting. It was beautiful. It had the wine for those ladies who do drink. But yeah, I definitely spent more than what I could spend. And I think we
right.
just get caught in the fact of there are appearances to certain elements of giving. And I didn't even go overboard, but even what I did was probably more than what I could have, reasonably should have done regarding my budget. But I
Right.
do think it comes out of this need to express love and joy. And I think what our challenge today is to discuss, are there other ways to do that? Because
Right.
my co-host, in contrast, Brian, did not provide wine and did not provide gifts to her guests. We shared a table. We shared a table.
Right.
And not only that, Brian, I
Right.
got my co-host a gift as well. So
Oh,
yeah. So yeah, and I will say older. She's older than me, she's more seasoned. And she said she wasn't buying wine for the guests and she apparently didn't get gifts either. So okay.
she was like, mm-mm, not I, said the squirrel. Sheila, what about you? Is this true for you too? And, in terms of that genuine desire to give, I mean, I think at the heart of it all.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that
Yeah.
I was raised that way. I felt that way from a young um, age. I remember one Christmas when I was in my 20s. I worked at a shelter for domestic violence, and we got on the radio. So we had an overabundance of presents. And so I took some of those presents and then I bought a bunch more because there was a family that my parents knew who there was a lot of things that happened that year. So they had these kids in the age that, was still celebrating all the aspects of Christmas, and they had nothing. And so I had all
Mm,
these gifts, and my dad, who was dressed up as Santa Claus sometimes, went and just dropped it at their door. They didn't recognize him. They never knew who it was. And that was like the most fun giving I've ever done, just
wow.
nobody knew. I haven't done that since, but it was a circumstantial thing, right? Like everything lined
Right,
up. And it was so
right,
magical. So, yeah, I think giving it from a magical place of view feels amazing. And then there's
right.
also all of us who give because we have to. And thinking of the pressure, I want to talk about like things like that,
Oh,
low
yeah.
income, when you're struggling with money and your children are in school and
Yeah,
all of the thing, there's a lot of pressure to keep the magic in that is infused on us by the capitalistic society that we live in,
right,
and
right,
I was blown
right,
away this year when I mean, I always knew Thanksgiving kinda kicked off the holiday season, but I learned this year that FDR actually moved Thanksgiving. It's always been about kicking off the Christmas, or the holiday spending, and the
right.
date is, and they moved it earlier so that we would spend more, like,
Absolutely.
decades ago. So,
Absolutely.
this has been going on for a long time, and we're just caught in it, and it can be a real mess.
Yeah. I always wondered why the celebration of like harvest and all this stuff, especially like in Canada, because I was in Detroit at the time, Chanel was there too,
Mhm,
where north in Canada it's earlier. It's like October,
Mhm.
some of in September, some of them celebrate it late September. Like the harvest comes in and you're celebrating this harvest and all this kind of stuff. And I was always wondering, like, why is it in November? It should be
Right.
the harvest should be like done by now, right? And that was because of FDR, right? Trying to get, this
stimulate
surge of economic activity happening. You
yeah,
and I'm glad you talked about the social economics of this because we're going to talk about that part in the next segment where there is this element of money in the holidays where we're talking about like keeping up with the Joneses, right? All people making sure that we look as good as how other people are doing during their holidays and we're giving at the same kind of level or we're giving gifts to other people that that represent a certain class and that kind of thing. So listen, we're going to take a quick
mhm.
break. We've got more of this coming up where we're talking about money in the holidays. If you have any questions, just post to our live feeds and we'll get to those. But we'll be back in a couple of minutes. See you soon. Hi there. This is Brian with Soulivity.com. I want to share some exciting news about our new Aspire Academy by Soulivity. Now, you probably want to know what the Aspire Academy by Soulivity is. Well, it exclusively connects you with people around the globe and who share the intense desire to improve themselves and create a better life for themselves today. There's classes, there's workshops, there's live events, and even more exclusively just for you. You see, I wanted you to have a safe space where you could grow, you can learn, and it would empower you in all aspects of your life, including your mind, your body, and your soul. So, how do you get started? Well, it is so easy. First of all, the best part, joining Aspire Academy is absolutely free. Just click on the Join Now button, sign up, and begin your journey. As a special part of this invitation to you, there are some free courses that are available for you to try from our amazing roster of coaches and collaborators. It's our way of saying thank you for all of your support and being with us along our journey of expansion. I hope you enjoy the Aspire Academy by Soulivity today. Start the process. Learn more about your passion, your purpose, and how to live a higher quality life. Hello there. We are back with more here on Soulivity today. We are talking about money and the holidays and how to deal with the potential stress the financial burden of the holidays can bring us. And back with us again is Sheila Applegate and Dr. Chanel DeGuzman. Want to turn to this one great observation made by the Psychology of Holiday Spending and Tips for Budgeting, this great article by Foundations Counseling. They say some of this overconsumption, right, while seemingly born from a desire to give, is not entirely selfless. Part of it comes from a social need to keep up with the Joneses or not wanting others to know how bad your finances really are. Woo, woo, woo. This article's preaching. Sheila, keeping up with the Joneses. Another very true statement for many of us. What are your thoughts about after hearing this piece of this article?
I don't so I understand that. I've never really resonated with that as far
Yeah.
as for middle class and up.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not been a part of me. For me,
Yeah.
what comes but I get that it's there. And I think that,
Mm-hmm.
probably growing up, my parents might have felt some of that, but it was never like big things that we got for
Mm-hmm.
Christmas.
Right.
But my compassion just goes to the families who are, again, it's back to the children,
Yeah.
keeping
Mm-hmm.
up with the Joneses may mean something to me based on the way I grew up, but it means something. As it's way different when you have children who are going back into school with other children and who are going to be showing off their great gifts, not out of, keeping up with Joneses, but just excitement.
Right.
And I think there's a whole pressure in that is absolutely real and genuine. And I feel a lot of compassion for that. And then
Yeah.
there's the insecurities that we have. And I think if we're feeling insecure, and social media might be amping that up, I don't know. Although
Oh
on social
yeah.
media, you could just put up fake
Oh
gifts.
yeah.
Who's going to know?
You're like at
Keep
the
up that
mall and you're
shine
like
light.
clipping the picture, trying to keep,
Right.
the price tag from being in the screen, like, yeah, look what I just got. Um,
Anyway,
but
I
I
don't
love
know.
that. But Sheila, I love that. And Chanel, I mean, Sheila brings up a really good point, right? Where um I remember growing up, uh I remember families trying to outdo each other a little bit, right? Where I'd see parents kind of, yes, well, I got, da 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 da, I bought this for my kid or that for my kid and da da da, and this kind of thing. And then movies like, oh gosh, what was the movie where it was with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sinbad was in it, and they were all trying to get this last mechanical doll. Remember that? Remember that? I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. Was it the Santa Claus or something like that? And that
Santa
kind of
Claus
thing.
isn't
Right.
that one, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not that, but
Well, you know what
but you know
revives
which.
us?
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
When you were when you before you even started, I flashed to Cabbage Patch Kids when I was
Oh
younger,
my!
when those were
Oh
in.
no, you
And I
didn't.
remember
Oh man.
my mom being, like that. We were old enough to understand, but just the pressure that my mom went under to try to get that
Ooh.
because
And they
of,
were
because of
expensive.
capitalism, right? The pressure that somehow that going viral back then, everybody was getting it. My mom had found one, like an alternative one, right? For
Right.
it wasn't, I
Right.
don't think it was for me. I think it was for my sister. But yeah.
Candace, do you
There's
remember
always
those?
that
Remember those?
thing, I think.
Yeah. Candace, you remember those? The Cabbage Patch Kids?
Chanel.
Well, so yeah, let me just say, I didn't get a Cabbage Patch doll. I don't think I necessarily wanted one that I can remember. So I don't even remember that, you know,
Yeah.
of the Cabbage Patch, but I know that, of course. What I wanted to talk about or kind of shift to was also the social pressure, Sheila and Brian. So,
Yeah.
there are so many holiday parties, right? And not
Yeah.
only holiday parties, some of them are like charity parties. And so you have to either do black tie, a long ball gown. That means hair, potentially makeup. You think about going to an event that might be ticketed at $100, $150 to $200. So you've got your ticket for two people, and then you have to, okay, I'll just speak for the ladies, go get a dress, or if you pull one out of the closet, you still got to do your hair, makeup, potentially nails. I mean, you're talking about a $400 night to be in a room, one, which is probably great for networking, but maybe it's a room that you may not be able to go to this year. And I
Right.
will be honest, there's
Right.
an event that I should have gone to because it was great for networking and also just the charity of it. But when you put all that together, I just decided this was not the year for me to not only purchase tickets, but then do the whole,
Yeah.
get up, if you will. So I decided not to get caught up, Brian, and not to get carried away just
Yeah.
because there is an event with a date, and then all the social lights are going to be there. I just decided, this is not my time. So we sometimes can get caught up in that and get carried away. And once you decide to go, you are going to wear the dress, you're going to wear the black tie, you're going to either go get new shoes, whatever the case is, you're going to make it, you're going to step up to the plate, which means you're
Right.
going to dig deeper in your pockets. And before you
Right.
know it, and potentially you haven't even started necessarily Christmas shopping because most of the parties happen the end of November and the beginning
Right.
of December. We might have
Absolutely.
another one then. But yeah, there's a whole nother social pressure of attending events and also writing checks to charities before the end of the year, before
Right.
December 31st. So there might be a pressure to also give when you may not even have to give.
I'm so glad that you're bringing that both of you actually are bringing this extra dynamic to it, right? Because I think when we mention the word keeping up with the Joneses, right? Number one, it brings about, Sheila, what you were talking about, this social kind of construct that that exists in the realm of capitalism, right? Where um, your worth is defined by the wealth and the things that you have acquired and that show others in the public sphere, right? That you don't even have to be a great person, right? If you're a multimillionaire or even a billionaire, that gives you more status, right? And so at the holidays, when you're spending money on these lavish gifts and showing the world what you can buy, right? The power of your wealth, that that in the capitalistic society, you get raised, right? You get raised up as someone of more importance, right? When in actuality, again, the stuff doesn't really matter when it comes to your worth. And again, we're going to talk about some ways to deal with the stress and other things like triggers. But and then I'll go to you, Chanel. Um, the other side of this is that there's emotions, right, around all of this. How will I be perceived? How will people see me? And that when you have strong self-esteem and you're looking at whatever things that you need to pay for, right,
Mhm.
you make more conscious decisions about how you're going to do that. And so I think that's why I want to kind of shift into the emotions of this, right? The emotional triggers that all of us feel sometimes when it comes to money, the holidays, gift giving, how we want to be perceived during the holidays, and all this kind of thing. And again, there's this great passage that's within this article, uh, The Psychology of Holiday Spending, where they talk about, another reason for excessive spending on holiday gifts is the emotional reaction triggered in a giver when gifting something above or beyond the normal. And then unfortunately, this is only a short-term benefit for what could be a long-term struggle with credit card debt. And that's just one example. I think the other examples are, Dr. Chanel, what if there was a person that was going to that wanted to go to that event and literally went out of their way and put themselves in great debt just to go to that event when they know that they really couldn't afford it? And then what's the repercussions of that, not only financially, but emotionally? So let's talk about that a little bit. I've literally seen people do this.
Mhm.
Dr. Chanel, what are your thoughts about it?
Well, I think that article really hits it on the head. It's a temporary delay of consequences that probably far going to outweigh the temporary feeling of, um, if it's a boost in your self-esteem, a boost in your self-worth, to be able to present yourself in a way that perhaps you normally couldn't, just to be in the room and to appear as if you have it all together. And
Yeah,
so the emotional part of people's self-worth is tied into that. Their their perception, like you said, of themselves are tied into that. And it's all comparing themselves, perhaps, again, to other people who might be doing the exact same thing. So we're all
right,
heightened up to at
right.
this level where it's kind of like a facade for some people. And I know it because I coach some of the young ladies who get caught up in this. I have personally gotten caught up into this at times. And it's a temporary emotional satisfaction that you made it. You're in the room. But can you really enjoy yourself when you're there, knowing that
Right,
for you out questions or
right,
uncertainty, uh, should I even be here, knowing that when I get back, to the finances come January, I don't even know how I'm going to make the minimum payments on some of the credit
right,
cards, right? So
right,
there's so much to take into account for a temporary 2 hour at best
right,
event that you've spent 5 to 10 times more than your budget. So maybe either you go with your full acceptance of yourself and your means, or maybe you opt out this year and maybe save for next year. And let me just
right.
end this by saying those ladies at my table and my co host table, even though, everybody didn't get a gift, everybody had a wonderful time. You couldn't tell who was,
Right.
because everybody enjoyed themselves. So it's not always about the appearance and what you bring necessarily, quote unquote, to the table. It's about the love and the joy and the friendships that are shared one with another.
Ooh, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Sheila, what are your thoughts when you hear all of this? Because I think a lot of times, um, um, we deal with past, like how we're being conditioned in terms of holiday giving and spending the holidays, and that money and the gift giving and the all of that is completely intertwined. And if we don't give this, then our self-worth is minimized and all that kind of thing. What are your thoughts about this?
So we we do it, very different, I think,
Oh yeah.
because I do have that joy that comes from giving. And I think
Yeah.
it's important to acknowledge that we get joy out of giving because,
Yeah.
um, but we also have to get joy out of receiving because if we don't, then we're not letting the person giving have that joy, right? It's a two-way
Right.
thing. Someone has to receive for us to be able to feel that joy of giving. So that's something that I think about often and trying to be a good receiver as well, and really take a time to appreciate what's given to me. Um, I like I would be more likely as far as donations go. A lot of what my kids are asking for these days are either activities, so something they're going to do,
Mm-hmm.
a gift certificate to a class that they'll take later, or something or a ticket to something they want to go see. But both, it's always also about donations that they want, for their gift is to donate to something that's important to them. And that spreads it out too, because I'm thinking with donations, the only reason that all the donations are here at Christmas time or the holiday time is because of capitalism and because of the end of the year taxes and all of this stuff. So if we think about doing our donations and our giving throughout the year, then it becomes more effective, right? Even thinking back to that, years and years ago when the shelter that I worked for got inundated with more gifts than we could give our people
Right.
when we knew that there were people out there. But we need those gifts in the other times of year, right? So
Right.
it's difficult even on some charities or some
Right.
places that we would give to get it all at once. They need it throughout the year. So I think if we think about, okay, I'm going to give this throughout the year, and if you're doing it in part for taxes, that's still tax deductible. It's you got a whole
Mm-hmm.
year to give,
Right. Right.
So I guess it's like spreading that out. But I do think we have to think about paying attention to our emotions, which is what you're asking about, how we feel when we give, and can we get that same feeling when we pick out something, or when we give all year round, or when we pick out something that touches their heart, not just their desire. Like,
Absolutely. As I listen to both of you about this particular part of money in the holidays, I find that this is really more about not, I mean, the finances is are one part of the conversation. The other part of the conversation is self-awareness and emotional intelligence, right?
mhm.
Where we're becoming more conscious of ourselves, what our wants, what our needs, and what serves us, as opposed to staying in the rut of what doesn't serve us, right, emotionally, and that we can be doing all this other kind of wellness things and all that, and then the holidays come up and we're back into what we've been conditioned to believe about ourselves, about gift giving, which may be less than ideal for us. And so I love the fact that both of you are bringing a light to this in your own different ways. And I'm kind of putting my 2 cents in there as well. Listen, loving the conversation, guys. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. Got to pay a little couple bills here. But we'll be back in about 2 minutes. So just stay tuned, because we're going to give you some tips on how to empower yourself through these times. You can find all of the Satana products at our Go shop at go.soulivity.com.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame. Living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture, that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
Hey, we are back with more here on Soulivity today. We are talking about money and the holidays and how to deal with, all the potential stress, the emotions, and the financial burden that the holidays can bring. Back with us are Sheila Applegate and Dr. Chanel DeGuzman. Ladies, let's turn and spend some real quality time on how we can use this time to not only reduce what our stress is around our finances and that kind of thing, but also gain more awareness about ourselves, right? I love in the last segment we were kind of talking about our emotional triggers and emotional awareness and being more conscious of everything and how we deal with this. Sheila, what's one thing that you're thinking about that people can do to empower themselves during this time?
I think it's important to maybe not focus on the season, but on life in the year. And, I think we put a lot of pressure on one day or 8 days or, how many ever days that you're celebrating the actual holidays that you focus on. But if we can give and we can receive and we can spend joyful time with each other, it's about being together, appreciating each other. And the more we do it throughout the year, the less pressure there is to accomplish that in the year. If we enjoy giving,
Yeah,
give when you
yeah.
have a little extra just because. And isn't it amazing to just get a little gift sometime or a big gift sometime just because somebody felt like it? Um,
Yeah.
and so we can choose to keep what we love about this and make it a year-round experience so that there isn't as much pressure on this particular time of year.
Mm, Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Dr. Chanel, what are you thinking about in terms of this? How can people at least start to begin the process of going a little deeper? And the gift giving is great and all that, but taking this time to kind of empower themselves.
Well, I think it's a really good time because things generally start to slow down. We, don't go to as many meetings. We start going on, the holiday breaks. Sometimes people get a week, sometimes people get 2 weeks. This is a perfect time to pause, just
Mm.
slow down and maybe do some breathing and some conscious awareness. Like you said, the self-awareness part is so critical, but we have to slow down. We can't, continue, like you said, to stay in the rut or get caught in the rut or caught up and then carried away with the momentum of the gift giving of the season. But maybe make a conscious decision to say, you know what? I'm not going to get caught up. I'm going to, maybe sit by, like we have a little fireplace that we haven't even lit yet since we've been in the home. But sure, you just are sitting down, like Sheila said, with people that you love, maybe having some cookies and hot chocolate and just sharing memories or watching a Christmas movie, but just getting back in touch with what's most salient or important to you on the inside, and then
Right,
moving
right,
uh,
right.
from that place of, getting in touch with the love center of your heart
Mm,
and figuring
mm,
out how you can express that love in ways that don't put you in pressure some situations or cause you stress, because if it's if your stress meter is starting to rise, if you're feeling sensations in your body that are not pleasant, that's the perfect time to just say, you know what, let me just sit down, get a cup of tea and figure out, why am I going in that direction? and you can actually put a stop to it. One quick example, Brian, my son is, him and his friends are planning this trip to Florida for New Year's Eve.
Okay.
And
Okay.
of course, we just paying tuition, Brian, and now so he is looking to his parents to, write the check or buy the ticket so he can go with his friends. And we're like, you can say no. And so he's got to figure that out. And we put that on him instead of us assuming that burden because
Right.
it did feel like I even called my mom and I said, Mom, what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, I'm probably going to end up paying for this ticket. But after talking to her, I said, you know what? Let him figure it out. He's 19 years
Right.
old.
Right.
And then I said, why don't
Mhm.
you call your uncle and see if you can go rake leaves or you can do something around to earn that money instead of your
Right.
parents just, whipping out the credit card. So we just said no. So maybe we need to just pause and decide what's in our best interest before we take off to the races.
I'm so glad you said that. Because saying no specifically, I'll back up and I'll rephrase this. Having boundaries with your
Mhm.
children is just as important as all of the things that we give them in terms of material support. It's just a different form of love, right? Um,
Abs-
uh, because we are teaching our children that not only can you survive in this world, but that you can live and thrive, right? And so by saying no in certain times, especially like this, it's like, wait a minute, why are we the bank, right? Why are we, we're not the my middle name is not ATM, right? Um, and so it's okay to say no, especially during these times
Right.
of the year. I mean, gosh, it's so important, so vitally important. I can't stress that enough. Um, there's this
Got that
great
power.
article. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, we've got the power, but we've gotta get in touch with it. We've got to claim it. It's there.
Yeah.
It's just dormant at times.
What are you
Go
thinking
ahead,
about
Brian.
this? What we're thinking about this, Sheila?
I'm agreeing with both of you, and I'm just thinking about the vibration of giving. When we give from a space of resentment or
Yeah.
uncertainty or stress, we're giving that to the other person, no matter what the tangible gift is. So to
Right.
always choose what you're giving based on how it feels to you, because giving should really come from the heart, right? And if it feels
Right.
good, then the money will come, it'll work out. So really tune into what feels right to you and get in tune with your own internal language that talks to you every day.
Oh man, I'm loving the way that you guys are just approaching this today. This is fantastic. Listen, we're gonna take another quick break. We've got more Soulivity today and a few final tips from me on how to manage financial stress during the holidays. So we'll be right back in about 2 minutes.
Hi there, Sheila Applegate here with some exciting news. I've joined the incredible Soulivity team as the host of the new Consciously Awesome live show, where I will be sharing insights to help you discover your full brilliance and claim the vibrant life you deserve. So tune in every Wednesday right here on Soulivity TV to join the fun, and remember to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an awesome week, and I will see you on Wednesday.
Would you like to be one of the first people to experience mental freedom? Mental freedom is a coaching practice with 6 core principles: improving hope, self-efficacy, optimism, resilience, and general well-being. Mental freedom only takes 6 sessions. It is designed to give you the tools you need to help yourself. It can help with any situation: relationship problems, past trauma, career decisions, parenting challenges, addiction, and mental health concerns. Incorporating the mental freedom framework into your life will deliver an approach to master any situation and a pathway toward achieving inner peace. Mental freedom provides the information and tools that you need to grow and be bigger than anything that ever happens to you. So if you're looking for one-on-one or a group coaching program that will allow you to address any situation that comes up in your life with practical tools to give you more peace and joy, then join the Mental Freedom Program in Soulivity's Aspire Academy. There are very limited spots available, so don't delay. I hope to see you there.
Hello there. We're back here with more on Soulivity today. We are continuing our good discussion on money during the holidays. I just want to finalize giving people some tips for managing specifically financial stress during the holidays. And this comes from an article called Managing Stress During the Holidays from able2.com. One is make a spending plan. Ladies, I think that's a really good one. Where you call it a budget or spending plan, knowing where your money goes decreases stress because it reduces surprises. So go out, make a spending plan. 2, reduce gift anxiety. Gift giving can be a source of intense uneasiness. What does she want? Well, what will he use? What do I get the person who has everything or can afford everything? What will be a waste of money? All these different questions kind of go through our minds around gift anxiety. First of all, ask, right? Though some will think it doesn't count if you ask, you'd be surprised at how many will just tell you what they'd like to receive, and you could be surprised by their answer. So ask. 2, divide and conquer. If you come from a big family or have a large network of friends, consider doing a secret Santa gift exchange, right? Not only will it save you money, but also time, mental strain, and emotional stress. 3rd, prioritize self-care. Dr. Chanel, you were just talking about this, right? Whether it's financial stress, personal stress, or general stress, self-care can be just the remedy that makes you feel better. It may not be the best time to spend money on massages or spa treatments, but there are plenty of no-cost ways to care for ourselves, like taking a bubble bath. Ooh, that sounds so good. Or doing a 3-minute meditation, so prioritize self-care. And 4, and Sheila, you talk about this all the time, ask for help, right? If you find that the stress is not only intensifying, you see no relief in sight, consider speaking to a professional, right? So ask for help, y'all, so such important things. So thank you both for joining me today on this one. Let's get to some Soulivity shameless plugs really, really quickly. And I'll go to you, Sheila, for information about fractal illumination.
So we have an amazing mini retreat if you want to nurture yourself during this season. It's on December 16th, and it's a time of meditation and renewal and community and fun. So you can learn all about that at SheilaApplegate.com, and we hope to see you there.
Fantastic. And speaking of support for people, Dr. Chanel, you have some coaching sessions where people can start the next chapter of their life today. Can you tell people a little bit about those?
Absolutely. I was going to say in my coaching sessions and in the exploratory sessions where we just chat, really what we're trying to do is we're seeking wisdom. And so when Sheila said ask
Yeah.
for help, I help you to figure out how you can tap into that inner strength, that inner dialogue that's there. Like I said, that it's dormant to help you ask for the wisdom that's already there so you can know what steps to take going forward. So you can, again, move from the inside out. So reach out, let's chat, let's get you on the right direction and not get caught up and carried away in this giving season.
Amen to that. And you can reach Dr. Chanel for those complimentary coaching sessions at 313 313-410-9909. That's 313-410-9909. Thank you to both of you lovely co-hosts for being with me today. This has been a great conversation, as it always
This
is
is
with
so
both of you.
so needed, Brian. This is great
Uh,
that we're all here.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, we're running out of time here. Just want to let everybody know, listen, please follow us on social media. We're on all the major platforms, but specifically subscribe to our YouTube channel at Soulivity Magazine, where you be alerted every time that we go live, as well as you can rewatch any of our Soulivity Today shows or any of our Soulivity TV shows that are fantastic. We've got a great feature with Dr. Lynn Richardson that's on there, as well as another ongoing series of Soulivity Weekend. Wow, we are running out of time. Just want to remind everybody, go to our website and check out the latest inspiration for your passion and purpose. Just want to remind people that yesterday we just released that your chance to be part of the Whole Health Healing System by world-renowned Dr. Mark Mancola. Enrollments are back online. So if you want to go to soulivity.com and get your seat, go now because seats are limited. And there's an early bird discount that's available that ends on January 6th. So go to soulivity.com for more information. And to all of you, thank you for being with us today on Soulivity Today. Listen, this is how we do it every Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern for our live broadcast on our Soulivity TV live streams, including soulivity.com. Or if you're out on the West Coast and you want to hear our live stream, go to KMET 1490 AM radio, where you can watch or listen in your car, at work, at home. It's 8 a.m. Pacific time. So listen, on behalf of everybody here at Soulivity, including my lovely co-host, thank you again for joining us. And as you move through your days, especially as you move through your holiday season, remember to keep passion and purpose forefront so that you can create a life, a better life, a best life today. We'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written